Fricke Ladies Organization welcome all of you to an empowering session, Dream, Dare, Do, Building the Brand You. Let me now introduce our speakers for today, Mr. Anand Pillai and Ms. Tanvi Bhatt. Anand is a well-renowned leadership coach and transformation expert. He is the Managing Director of Leadership Matters, Inc., which focuses on building an entrepreneurial culture in organizations. Ms. Tanvi Bhatt is India's leading personal branding expert, an entrepreneur who broke away from the comfort and safety of her corporate life to pursue her passion, people and branding. She is the founder and managing director of Panache, India's premier personal branding company, and has empowered and trained many corporates like Bank of America, KPMG, Tata Group, The Times Group, and Infosys, just to name a few. It is an honor to have such eminent speakers with us today. I request Ms. Neeta Buchra, First National President from Rajasthan for Fricke Ladies Organization and Founder Chairperson of the Jaipur Chapter, along with Ms. Minal Jain, our Chairperson, to welcome the speakers. I now invite Ms. Minal Jain, our Chairperson, to give her opening remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. If people like you, they will listen to you. But if they trust you, they will do business with you. With this quote, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all for this session on personal branding. I have always felt that most of us energies get involved in developing brand images for our companies and professions. But very little thoughts are put into crediting our own personal brands, which I feel should be the core of all branding efforts. It makes us all proud and honored to have with us one of India's leading leadership, branding, business transformation guru, Mr. Anand Pillai, and Ms. Tanvi Bhatt, pioneer of personal branding in India. Anand and Tanvi, heartfelt thanks for accepting my invite. I also welcome our National President, past President Ms. Neeta Buchra, past chairpersons, members of the board, executive committee, and you all members. As our journey progresses this year with our motto of Unlimited You, we are here today to develop our insights on dreaming to dare to do and thereby build our brand. Branding is a continuous process and not a singular event. I'm sure today is going to be a worthy experience for all of us. Before I end, on a lighter note, we are all born originals. Let's not go down as copies. You are the CEO of your own company, which is yourself. So let's brand ourselves before others brand us. Thank you so much. Anand, all yours.
So good afternoon, everybody. What we are going to look at two aspects of this concept of personal branding. One is to discover our uniqueness, and having discovered our uniqueness, to leverage our uniqueness. So if I were to give a title, I actually would not give a title on personal branding. I would give the title as Discovering and Leveraging Your Uniqueness. And if you actually look at the spelling of uniqueness, it is unique, and we will look at that as we go along. Now, if you get into any introduction, whenever you get into an introduction, many times you get to speak out the first answer to the first question. That is, what do you get paid to do? What is your job? What is your KRA? 90% of us, or over 90% of us, we end up saying our title. I'm the managing director, or I'm the chairman, or I'm whatever, right? Or we tend to give our generic description. What is the generic description? I run the business, or I'm responsible for profit, or something like that. These are what I would call equalizers. That is, if you say, I am the project manager, look at how many project managers will be there. I am the person who is running the operations. Look at how many people will be running the operations. The actual way of introducing yourself should be that which people will remember long after your interaction has gone. That is the differentiator. Okay? We're going to arrive at that differentiator in this little while. The other one, which we may not have time to, but it's an opportunity for us to reflect on, is what is the one positive word or positive phrase people use to describe you? Most of the time, we think of negative things that people use to describe us. It did not happen to me, it happened to my classmate. Constantly, he was given in the marks card GC. And his parents thought it was a grade or it was something, whatever. In one parent-teachers meeting, to their shock, they discovered what this consistent remark GC was. It actually was gone case. So sometimes what happens is you remember that which is negative on you. We do not remember that which is positive on us. Unfortunately, we have a comparison syndrome. All of us have comparison syndrome. I'll give you an example. I'll start off with a story. Me and my cousin Shekhar, we both studied in the same school in Bangalore. And this school, or to commute from our home to the school, we had to take a rickshaw those days in the early 60s. So we take a rickshaw and our homes were about 1.5 kilometers away from each other. So depending on who boarded or who is going to exit, either the rickshaw would stop at my home where me and my cousin would get down and he would walk home, or the rickshaw would stop at my cousin's home and I would walk back home. When let's say a situation, he is at home. He's come home and I'm also there, and everything he does, my mother looks at and she says, why can't you be like Shekhar? Look at him. And he that time would be like an angel. I mean, he would take his shoes and put it in the proper place when I know he's a rascal. But in front of my mother, he would be an angel. And, my mother would have only negative things to say about me. Why don't you learn some manners from him? Why don't you learn some courtesy from him? Why don't you learn some good habits from him? Well, I will grin and bear it, because my time will come. And on another day, the rickshaw stops at my auntie's place. Okay? And then I get there and I'll be as good as I ever was always. And my auntie says, Shekhar, why don't you learn from Anand some nice manners? But this is where the scenario is. We tend to have comparisons. We always want our children or anybody to be like somebody. Now, I've shared this. The problem is I myself have not learned the lesson. About 10 years ago, in my family, I blurted out the same mistake that was instilled on me. On the dining table, my children, my son and daughter, they were having their meal and I was also there. And my son has got an unusual way of eating. I mean, he'd like to look at every component of the food that is there on the table, almost as if he's going to have a conversation with each one of them. Am I going to eat you? No, not, And it's going on like that, and the rest of the family is finishing off. And we had an unwritten rule in the family that unless everybody finishes, we will not get up. And that particular day, in the evening, I had a conference call and I'm waiting for my son to finish. And he's not finishing. So in my frustration, I blurted out this statement. His name is Naveen. And I said, Naveen, why can't you be like your sister? He got up and he gave me 16 reasons why he cannot be like his sister. And then I got the message. I also am in that same situation. Now, a large number of you, Jaipur is a textile and gem city, but in the days when we were growing up, it was tailoring days, not ready-made days. And I had 7 members in the family. I had 3 brothers and 3 sisters. And the tailoring days, the festival clothes, you understand how it was done. All that my father did to give us festival clothes was based on a simple management principle. And that is the principle of economies of scale. And I'll tell you how absurd that principle was when one Diwali, I wore my festival clothes and went out into the streets. I looked and I found flowers in my shorts. Guess who'd gone along with my dad for shopping? My elder sister. So she said, Dad, I like that. And my dad said, okay, 22 meters of that. And that was brought home. The tailor was brought home. And all of us were lined up. And my brother, who was in the cradle, he was also there. And they took measurements. Shirt, pant, and whatever else was all in one fabric. And all that we had to do was wear the festival clothes and go out into the street, and everybody will know the members of the Pillai family. It was like Sound of Music. The reason why I'm sharing this is we all like uniformity. We don't like diversity. If we do have diversity, we possibly tolerate diversity rather than celebrate diversity. We cannot stand the fact that there is another person who is unique in his or her own way. What I want to do is talk about our uniqueness. So the outline that I have is understand the need for significance, and having understood that, look at what is our identity. Then we will get into the what and why of personal brand. And having got into that, we will get down to the practical steps of building your personal brand, or the 7 steps in building your personal brand. This is based on who you are, not who others want you to be. Now let's go forward. And I have this, a favorite quotation of mine. This is from the book called Funky Business, written by 2 Stockholm School of Business professors. And this is what they are saying. The surplus society has a surplus of similar companies employing similar people with similar educational backgrounds, working in similar jobs, coming up with similar ideas, producing similar things with similar quantity and similar price. Isn't that the world in which we are living in? Although when you are sharing, you'll say, listen, I'm a designer, but I'm a designer of a different kind. What kind? Your address is in one place, somebody else's address is in another place. That's a different kind. We are in a world of similarities. But into that similarity, we need to make a difference. I have the same challenge when I was in the corporate world. Let us, I go to a particular B school to recruit people. We sometimes have 8 to 10 positions. There are about 400 people who will be available for jobs. And all these 8 to 10 positions in any particular B school, for us, we will have a requirement of engineer of 3 disciplines, MBA, which is where they are in 2 electives, marketing, strategy, finance, operations, with 3 to 4 years of experience. The people who fulfill that criteria out of that 400 odd would be about 300. And we need only 10. How do we select those 10? That situation is the same as when we go to any corporate assignment. 10 bidders are there. They want one vendor. How do they select one vendor? Everybody is in a world where they are called to make a difference when everything else is similar. So that's the situation that we are in, and we think that people are identical. So I want to share the story of the Bijani sisters. I do not know how many of you at that point in time read the news, 2003. Any of you? There are a few of you who, these are the story of the Iranian twins in Singapore who were co-joined in the head. A portion of their brain was common, and at that point in time and even now, this particular surgery is not a successful surgery. But because they were co-joined in the head, they had to do everything together. They had to dress up together, they had to go to school together, and we have this notion that twins are identical. But that's not true. If you look at, and this is taken from Wikipedia, if you look at their personalities, even from a career orientation, one of the sisters wanted to become a lawyer while the other one wanted to become a journalist. One of them liked to play computer games while the other wanted to do computer programming. One was an extrovert, the other is an introvert. Yet, for the outside world, they were twins. They were not identical. They did not even look identical. They possibly looked identical in the beginning, but not as they grew up. Every birthday, they were asked the question, what do you want as a birthday gift? And they said, we want to be separate. That is our birthday gift. But unfortunately, they could not conduct the surgery. And the reason for that is, it is just not possible, because not only was a portion of the brain common for both, there was one very critical blood vessel which was common for both. Now you could splice the brain, but you cannot splice the blood vessel. I mean, it's like taking your garden hose pipe and splitting it into two equal positions so that the flow is the same for both. And that has to happen in real time. Because the moment blood supply stops to your brain, you're finished. So the doctor said, no, it's not possible. But every birthday they kept on insisting, we want to have separate lives. Finally, at age 29, they said, listen, enough is enough. We have got a right for self-determination, right for self-rule, right for our own views. We want to have this surgery. As usual, the doctors came, the health minister came, everybody came. They did whatever they did in terms of warning. This is not a near fatal surgery. This is a fatal surgery, because there is no chance of your survival. The chance, if anything, is 10 decimal places. It's just not possible. But the sisters, they said, we are aware of it. We still want to go for the surgery. As they were signing the indemnity bond, which is the requirement before the operation, the doctors asked them a question. Why are you signing your own death warrant? To which I happened to be in Singapore, and when it was aired, my hair stood on end when I heard their statement. Why do you want to go for the surgery? Their answer was, we would rather die as individuals than live without an identity. Can you imagine how strong this is? The question that I want to ask each one of you is, how many of you have such a burning passion where you want to be an individual in your own right? I don't know how many of you are children of entrepreneurs who carry the legacy of your parents or somebody else. So when you're introduced, you're always introduced as the daughter of so-and-so or as the sister of so-and-so. You're not introduced as who you are. You want to have your own life. You want to be who you are. That's the burning desire that is there. And I don't know how many of you realize that we actually are unique, even though the world may make us similar. Now I'm going to ask you this question. How many of you know that there are at least 5 ways in which all of us are unique? What are the things that make us unique? Just raise your hand and share it. Yes. Fingerprint, bang on target. 1. Next. Retina print. 2. Yes. DNA. 3. Wow, it's getting better. Voice. Yeah, great. Fundamental frequency. Thumbprint was already shared. Fingerprint. The 5th one, human beings cannot recognize. Animals can, particularly the dogs. The body odor, right? The body odor. These are the 5 ways in which all of us are unique. The first one, DNA. No two people have the same DNA. The second one, fingerprint. No two people have the same fingerprint. The third one, no two people have the same voice print, or the fundamental frequency is unique to individuals. No two people have the same retina print. Why do I know this? Well, I worked in biometrics in the information technology. These are the parameters that are used for biometrics. For example, your Aadhaar card takes at least 2 of them, right? When you go for your land registration, it takes at least 2 of them, in addition to your name, none of which is duplicatable, right? Now, no two people can have the same DNA, same fingerprint, same voice print, same retina print, and same body odor, yet the world wants us to be similar, same. There is no two people in the world who have got these combination together. It's just not possible. But yet, the world wants us to be similar. Why? Because they can box us into some entities. So if we were to ask you the question, what is your identity? What will the answer be? So if I ask you, what is your identity, ma'am? Who are you? Yeah, you'll share your name, right? If I ask you, ma'am, who are you? Yeah, so you'll share your profession. Or, well, I don't want your name. I don't want your profession. If you say, I'm an Indian, well, we don't want your citizenship. I'm a lady, well, we don't want your gender. You look at it, when people ask you, what is your identity, we invariably attach it to certain other borrowed parameters. What is the borrowed parameter? The borrowed parameter is a title, is a qualification, is a profession, is a biological association. But that is not what our identity is. That is what we do. The question that I asked is, who are you? Well, let me tell you one thing. That answer you may not be able to arrive at in concrete terms during your lifetime. You possibly will be able to evolve, which is what we are going to get at. But it will be cemented and possibly concretized much after we have gone. I'll give you a simple example. When I ask you, what do you think of when you hear the word Mahatma Gandhi? What is the thing that comes to your mind? Mahatma Gandhi. Father of the nation? Ahimsa? Right? Self-sacrifice? Non-violence? But did Mahatma Gandhi say, I am, I have this, a lot of these self-styled gurus, My theory is, if you say you are something, chances are you aren't. Did Mahatma Gandhi ever say that he was the father of the nation? People said. Right? But that was his identity. He evolved into that identity. Take the case of Nelson Mandela. When I mention the word Nelson Mandela, what comes to your mind? Apartheid, freedom struggle, whole lot of other things. But he did what he did. Right? Your identity is frozen as you live your life and other people will give it to you. And sometimes what happens is, we think our identity is our looks. Right? I had this situation where in the year 2001, I came back from US I used to work in the US. I came back for the same company, HCL Technologies. And as I came back, I was asked to introduce myself. So I introduced myself and I said, I'm Anand Pillai, born and brought up in Bangalore, but live in Delhi. And you worked in US, live in Delhi. One of my colleagues, he said, yeah, but you look like a Sri Lankan. I said, can you imagine you're sharing, I'm from Rajasthan. No, you're from actually Bihar. Or something. That hurts you. So I said, no. He said, no, you look like a Sri Lankan. You are a Sri Lankan. And sometimes what happens is people say certain things and after some time, it kind of grows on you. I don't know if it has happened to you. It kind of grows on you. It happened to me. A few weeks after that particular incident, there was this situation where I had to go to Bangalore and I took the flight and the Indian cricket team and the Sri Lankan cricket team were also there in the same flight. So I'm sitting there and the person who's sitting next to me, he's mighty thrilled that he's sitting next to me. So I'm wondering, man, what do you think? He said, no, it's okay. I'm happy. I said, what are you happy about? He did not answer. And he's just very excited the fact that he is sitting next to me. And I knew that it could have been an identity crisis. But he did not show any signs of that. In fact, he wants to talk to me. He wants to kind of touch me. He is all over the place. So much so that I began to question my marital status. And also you'll have to understand that was the time when Section 377 was not even discussed. And I wasn't wearing a pink shirt. So it was very awkward. Anyway, to cut the long story short, as soon as the flight landed in Bangalore, we were walking up. I was walking up to the terminal. That was the old airport. And this person, he came rushing close to me. He pulled out his boarding pass and he gave it to me and he said, sir, autograph. I said, not bad. I finally arrived in life. I took my pen and I signed from one diagonal to the other. Anand Pillai. He looked at my face, he looked at my signature and he said, I'm sorry. I said, what are you sorry for? He did not answer. He looked behind, and as he looked behind with eager expectation, I also looked behind, and lo and behold, from the passenger list, from the Sri Lankan cricket team, I could see my brother. Now, how many of you know my brother? How many of you are into cricket? Particularly since the 2000. Any of you know my brother? Any guesses? Well, it's a long story. Let me cut it short. We got separated at birth. My brother was adopted by the Jaisurya family, and I was adopted by the Pillai family, and the rest is history. Now, armed with this information, I went to my office in HCL Technologies in Bangalore, and that was the March time frame when appraisal news is given, where you get your percentage increment. And I said, guys, I've got an announcement to make. So everybody gathered, announcement, some increment announcement. I said, where do we gather? I said, gather in the conference room. They all gathered with eager expectation in the conference room, and I went there to make the announcement. What is the announcement? And I made the announcement. I just discovered that Sanat Jaisurya looks like me. They went down in their expectation, and one fellow, he got so upset. He said, Anand, it is wrong for you to compare yourself with Sanat Jaisurya. I said, why? He said, that is because he has got a better face value. Now, sometimes friends say certain things which leaves you with this feeling, why do I need enemies when I got friends like these? And I'm sure you have some of them. Anyway, I took that statement at face value and I said, what you're saying is true. Sanat Jaisurya definitely has a better face value. Fact is, he has got a bigger face value. Because every day in the morning when he washes his face, he has to go all the way there. Now, if you see him, he's got a very good face value. I'm still getting there. While this was being said, another friend, he also got worked up. He said, Anand, you think you look like Sanat Jaisurya. But fact is, there are at least 7 people in the world who look like you. Have you come across that statement? I said, man, why do you want to kill my newfound joy? As far as I'm concerned, there is one and only one Anand Pillai in the world. There never was one before, and there never will be one after. And the other guys got even more worked up and they said, you are getting arrogant. I said, no, I am getting confident. And the reason for my confidence is this: God does not repeat mistakes. Now, why am I saying this in this session? I'm saying this because I want all of you to realize God has made each one of us as a first-class original. Don't die a second-grade copy. Now, I want you for a moment to look at the person on your left or on your right and say, I am a designer product. There is only one of me in the world. There is none other. Say that to your colleagues. Now, say that loudly. I am a designer product. There's only one. I mean, say that to your spouse who compares you with somebody else. I am one of a kind. Now, is this a statement to just pamper you, or is this a statement of truth? Statement of truth. Not because I said, you remember the 5 things that we are unique? You don't have the same DNA as somebody else. You don't have the same fingerprint as somebody else. You don't have the same voice print as somebody else. You don't have the retina print as somebody else. You don't have the body odor of somebody else. And obviously you don't have the same character as somebody else. You don't have the same personality as somebody else. The world wants you to be somebody else. But you are a designer product. You have to live your life. That's what Steve Jobs said. Don't waste your time living somebody else's life. You have to live your life, because you'll have to live the life that has been scripted for you. That's very important. Sometimes what happens is when we introduce ourselves, we say, I am a gold medalist, or I am a topper. I also thought that my identity was linked with my achievements. But that's not true. Even our achievements. I still remember the school in which I graduated. I graduated, I was the topper in my school. And they gave a particular award which is equivalent to Scholar of the Year, which is Best All-Round Student. I got that in the year 1976. That was a big achievement. The school continued on for a few more days for some special classes, and I was the darling of the crowd. Everybody were rallying around me. I left the school, graduated, and then after 5 years, I got this opportunity to work in Delhi in 1981 to be with DCM as a management trainee. Now, as a result of migrating from Bangalore to Delhi, I had to get a whole lot of certificates, one of which had to be from my school, so I had to come back to the school. But the thought of coming back to the school where I was declared the best all-round student was a great thought. Why? I thought everybody will rally behind me and thought, oh, this guy, hero, has come back. And all my hopes came to a grinding halt at the gate when the watchman asked me, who are you? I said, man, you don't remember Anand Pillai? Yeah, what about that? I'm the Pettigrew medal holder. Pettigrew medal was the founder's medal. I'm the scholar of the year. I'm the best all-round student. The watchman asked which year, and I told him the year. Yeah, but that's 5 years ago. He never recognized me. He never respected me. I was crushed in my personality. And then he asked me, whom do you want to meet? I said, I want to meet the principal. He asked me, do you have an appointment? And I arrogantly said, do I need an appointment? He said, everybody needs an appointment. Since you don't have an appointment, you don't go to the principal, you go to the PA room. I was deeply disappointed. I said, man, what is this? I was such a great person 5 years ago. In the same school, now I'm a nobody. So as I'm walking up to the principal's office, I said, no, I'm not going to go to the PA room. Let me go to the staff room. At least the teachers will recognize me. So I went to the staff room. The chemistry teacher and the English teacher were coming out, and I displayed myself and I said, ma'am, do you remember me? Immediately the chemistry teacher, with a broad smile, she said, Anand, how can we forget you? All my hopes returned. Until she completed the sentence. Anand, how can we forget you? You're the one who locked us in the room. That's when I realized that we are remembered not for our achievements, but how we have impacted people's lives. That's a moment of truth. Nobody cares how big your industry is. Nobody cares what your turnover is. Nobody cares what your portfolio is. People remember how you have impacted their lives. So our identity is not our achievements, not our looks, but who we are as a person. And that's what is our personal brand. So if I were to ask you, what is your personal brand? What does compromise a personal brand? It's basically a combination of your strengths, of your passion, of your gifts, and your purpose. It's all of this put together. That's what makes it a personal brand. So I'll give you some examples here. All these pictures are there. What is common between all of them? Achievers. Well, George Bush is also there. So achievers. What is common? They are giving something to remember. Point well taken. They are all a personal brand. They all have a brand. Now they can have something to remember positively or something to remember negatively. Because my friend George Bush is also there. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, he has introduced the word in the English dictionary. Bushism. Psychologists say that an average person influences another person or another 68,000 people in his or her lifetime. Positively or negatively, and that could be unconscious. I come from the computer industry. I'm a computer science guy by qualification. So, if you look at anybody is remotely related to computer science here? I've done computer science as one person here. If you have done anything in computer science, you would have studied books by Dennis Ritchie. He is the author of the C language. Everything that we know today to be existing in computing is originated by Dennis Ritchie. He is the author of Unix, Windows, C language, programs, everything. He is known as the father of modern computing. Dennis Ritchie and Steve Jobs died within 4 days of each other. Yet, the world remembers who? No prizes for guessing that one. Why? Because Steve Jobs was a personal, or he built, or a brand was built around him. So how do you build your brand? There are 7 steps to build a brand. And what are those 7 steps? The first one is believe in yourself. The second one, discover yourself. The third one, reinvent yourself. Fourth, build yourself. Fifth one, let go of yourself. Invest in yourself. And of course, be yourself. Let's look at each one of them. Believe in yourself. Now, if you look at each one of you, if you look at ourselves, we have enough reasons not to believe in ourselves. At least the society has made us look that way. Either you're too thin, you're too fat, you're too tall, you're too short, you're too fair, you're too dark. Something is excess. I still remember, this is not a statement to hurt anybody. First of all, let me give you a compliment. All of you are in good shape. As long as you consider round also to be a shape. So don't worry. So question is, you always want to be something that somebody else has got. I wish I had her hairstyle, or I wish I had that looks, or that nose, or this one. You're not happy with yourself. You don't believe in yourself. I still remember in 9th standard in our school, the tallest and the fairest and the prettiest girl in the class was crying. 9th standard. Now, nobody had the guts to go and ask her, why are you crying? And she used to cry like almost every other day. Every other day, crying. So nobody had the guts to ask her. Anyway, we all graduated. We went to the next year, 10th standard. And in 10th standard, again, crying. In one of the classes, when we asked her, why are you crying? Somebody had the courage. This is what she said. I am so tall. Who will marry me? Good thinking, but bad realization. Are you there? Everybody was envying her, but she was not. So that was a problem with me. Anybody have the same situation. You don't believe in yourself. I still remember when I went out to play as a kid, I was the first dark member in my family. My sisters were fair. My cousins were fair. But everybody started making comments on the color of my skin. I came and told my dad, he said, don't bother. You can't do anything about it. You focus on yourself. And the second thing he said, don't react to them. If you don't react or respond to them, they will stop. I did not react. I did not respond. It stopped. But my father, in his infinite wisdom, he put me to an Anglo-Indian school. I went there and I looked at everybody. They were all bleached. And they looked at me as if I came from outer space. Obviously, there was a kind of a mismatch, but anyway, it went on. I finished graduation, and then I came to Delhi, and that particular scheme, the management trainee scheme, was a big thing. It was a very much competitive exam. Over 2 lakh applicants were there, and some 16,842 people were called for the interview, grilling, 7-stage interview. 13 people were selected, and yours truly was one of them. I said, wow, that's a big thing. So as I got that into the action, everybody thought, here we have got a celebrity in our midst. They sent that word to other people in JNU, and they said, here is this guy who's cracked a competitive exam. So I was called to give a lecture in JNU. And so I went there to give the lecture. As I went there to give the lecture, I got this raving reception. So many people are going to come to receive you because they've heard about you. So I landed there in JNU gate, and the person who came to receive me, he was disappointed. He said, you are Anand Pillai? I said, yes, I am Anand Pillai. Then afterwards he said, you are Anand Pillai, the management trainee? I said, yes, I am Anand Pillai. I don't know about the management trainee, but I am a management trainee. Then afterwards he said, you are Anand Pillai, the management trainee of DCM? I said, boss, I am Anand Pillai, I am a management trainee in DCM. He was totally disappointed because the description that went ahead for him, he expected an Amitabh Bachchan to land up. And he looked at me from head to toe. You? I said, yes, me. So I went on, and none of the class was willing to listen to me because for them it was an anticlimax. Because the description went ahead. And those days there were no photographs. They just imagined a person and an anticlimax came. So nobody was interested in listening to me. Anyway, I had one of two choices. Either I speak for what I was called for, or I go away. I said, since I've come all the way, let me speak. I started off with this sentence, and that is, all of you guys are waiting for 4 to 6 years to get your IAS degree. Whereas I got my IAS degree the day I was born. They said, huh? How did that happen? I said, that depends on what you consider IAS to be. As far as I'm concerned, IAS is invisible after sunset. Mark Twain said, if you can learn to make jokes on yourself, you deprive the power of another person. It's your ability to take a joke rather than make a joke that determines your sense of humor. So these people were all laughing. And then I wanted to go one step further. I said, you guys are wanting to become a celebrity by doing your IAS degree. I became a celebrity the instant I was born. The guys were shocked. Oh. I said, yes. In fact, I was so much of a celebrity that people from all over the world came to see me. Really? Why? Because they did not know what it was. Now you tell me, can anybody make better fun of me? One person in the front, he said, Hawa nikal gaya sala. Now all of them are my friends. You need to learn to overcome that. Now all this happened, and then I was called 8 years later in US, in Las Vegas. I was called as convocation speaker for this big conference where in the morning Scott McNeely, Larry Ellison, Bill Gates and all were there, and in the afternoon was the parallel workshops where 40 other people, including me, were taking parallel sessions. So the organizers said, listen, in the morning it's a compulsory, everybody will be there. In the afternoon, people have a choice. There will be a person who will come and escort you from your hotel to the conference venue to one of the workshops. His or her job is to introduce you. That's all. So please be available 1.5 hours before. And I came. As I came in, I walked up. This person came to receive me in the hotel. He said, are you Anand? I said, yes, I am Anand. I mean, he could not pronounce my name. So he kept on saying, Anand, Anand. I said, listen, call me whatever you want as long as you call me. So he said, no problem, I have to introduce you. You come. And then we went to a class where about 200 people were there. I came in and he had this paper which had to introduce me. I do not know whether he got the paper wrong or he could not pronounce my full name. He was going, ladies and gentlemen, for my next session, ladies and gentlemen, for my next session, and he stuck. And I have a distinctive feeling that they mixed up the papers or they included my passport name, which is Ananda Kuppuswamy Pillai. There is no way this American could have got it. Anyway, he said, ladies and gentlemen, for our next speaker, we got my colored friend from India. So everybody, they said, oh. And I got up and I said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank my colorless friend for the introduction. Now let's go on. That's exactly what they did. They all clapped. After the session that day evening, the conference organizers, they came with an apology letter, with a big gift check, a box of chocolates, a bouquet of flowers. I looked at the gift check. It was $500,000. And they said, we are sorry for what happened. This person is hired for the day. He is not one of us. Please don't hold it against. We are sorry. I said, listen, take your check. I accept your apology. They said, no. Please accept our apology. I said, I accept your apology. They said, no, please take the letter and sign. Since they insisted, I said, listen, okay, I accept your apology. Take the check and go. 4 days later, I shared this incident to a friend of mine and they ridiculed me. They said, Anand, what's wrong with you? You accepted their apology? I said, what should I have done? They said, you could have sued them. America's favorite pastime. Now, supposing I had sued them, what do you think would have happened to my self-image? I did not. My purpose in life is to believe in myself. That's all. In fact, on my birthday, from Delhi to Bangalore, where my mother is, every one of my birthday, I would call up my mom and say, Mom, today is my birthday. Congratulations. Fantastic product you have brought out. Thank you. That is my motto. My motto is to be so busy loving my life and the God who created me that I have no time for hate, for regret, for worrying, fret or fear. The first foundation in each one of us for us to build our brand is to believe in yourself, because that is the base commodity. That is the raw material. You don't believe in yourself, you can't expect the world to believe in you. And I'll quickly go through the other 6 very carefully. Discover yourself. After having believed in yourself, you need to discover yourself. How do you discover yourself? You discover yourself by answering these 5 questions. What is your yearning? Where are you getting drawn on? The second one is, where are you learning rapidly? The third one is, where or in what activities do you get your flow? The fourth one is, where are the glimpses of excellence? And the fifth one is, where is your moment of satisfaction? If you want exact questions, let me give you the exact questions that you need to ask yourself to discover yourself. The first one is, what kind of activities are you naturally drawn to? You may be qualified as an engineer or as a psychologist, but you're drawn to poems, you're drawn to art. What are the activities that you're naturally drawn to? That is an indication. The second one is, what activities do you seem to pick up quickly? That is another indication of your discovery of yourself. The third one is, in what activities do the steps come automatically to you? It's just as if it is hardwired. That is where your identity is. The fourth one is, during what activities do you get that subconscious excellence where you ask yourself the question, wow, how did I do that? Or the other question, did I do that? That's a discovery of yourself. And the fifth one is, in what activities do you get a kick, where either during doing it or after doing it, you get this feeling, when can I do that again? Forget about your qualification, forget about your parentage. This is what you should be doing. That is your identity. Having done that, you need to learn to reinvent yourself. How do you reinvent yourself? You reinvent yourself by going and listening to this example. This is a 1975 example. At that time, between the two actors, who was more popular? Amitabh Bachchan is the younger generation. If you know anything, the more popular person was Shashi Kapoor, and we all know this dialogue, right? We don't want to get into that. But at that point in time, Shashi Kapoor was more popular, more talented. 1975. 2 years ago, look at the situation. One person reinvented himself. Go look at the situation. What's the moral of the story? Either you learn to reinvent yourself or you will physically decay. This is biology. We need to become relevant. That is very, very important. Having reinvented yourself, you now need to build yourself. How do you build yourself? You build yourself through white spaces. What are those white spaces? White spaces are basically situations or opportunities that nobody else is taking care of. I just listened to Atul. You looked at a white space in just the food industry. That is something that nobody else is looking after. But that's not your profession. You're architects. Each one of us look at some open opportunity that is there, and you create a career signature. For that, I'll tell you one short story. Here is the situation where a person several decades ago came to visit his friend. The friend wasn't there. The friend's son was there. So the boy asked, "Sir, tell me your name so that when daddy comes, I will tell who came." So the person said, "Listen, don't worry, give me a sheet of paper." He took the sheet of paper and drew a circle and gave it back without writing his name. The boy asked, "Sir, I look like a fool in front of my dad. If he asks me who came and I give him the sheet of paper, please tell me your name." Repeated instances of requests did not yield in this person giving the name. So when daddy came, he gave him the piece of paper and said, "Dad, a strange visitor came to see you. I asked him for his name. He did not give the name. He just gave this paper with a circle and he told that you will recognize who came." Immediately when the dad saw the piece of paper, he said, "Wow, Leonardo da Vinci has come." Because only he could draw a perfect circle in a free hand. The question that you need to ask yourself is, what is it that you do which is so unique to you that when people see your work will say, this is the work of Ritu, this is the work of Shobha, this is the work of Asha. You don't have to introduce, you don't have to give a title card, you will have to just give your work. Your work will speak for yourself. So there are 5 qualities that you need to imbibe for you to create a career signature. What are the 5 things that you need to do? The first one is you must study the business and map it to your passion. Look at what is the business scenario. Map it to your passion. The second one is make sure that you create a big entry barrier for yourself. Don't worry about somebody else, but create a big entry barrier for yourself. If you were to compare yourself to who you were before. The third one is move towards something. Have a goal in mind. 2 years from now, I want to be there, rather than away from something. The fourth one is network with value adders. Fricke Ladies Organization should be a place where you come to network with value adders, not with aggregators, and create your own blue ocean. What is your blue ocean? That is where you learn to reduce that which is low in value, but high in cost or effort. So look at the value on the x-axis, low to high, but work on eliminating that which is low in value. Reduce that which is low in value and lower in cost, but work on creating a distinctive value proposition that is in tune with your character, with your identity. Once you have done that, we get into the fifth one where you need to let go of yourself. By now, you would have accumulated a lot of overheads. So what are those overheads? Well, there are overheads. We have learned to become man-pleasers. We have learned to crave for praise. So we need to let go of 3 things. What are those 3 things? The first one is let go of affirmation for accomplishment. Don't wait for people to tell you good job or bad job. Go ahead and do what you have to do so that you can accomplish something. The second one is give up security for significance. And a large number of us either are born in families which is entrepreneurial, so we've got a safe security. Give that up so that you can make something significant. Take the case of Rahul Bajaj. I mean, he went into creating a distinct identity away from the regular Bajaj. You need to give up security for significance. And then, of course, the third one is give up immediate victory for long-term sustainability. Don't be a flash in the pan. Having done that, you then need to invest in yourself. How do you invest in yourself? I'll give you a quick acronym, the second last slide that I have. The acronym is SPICE. What are the 5 areas where you need to invest in yourself? First one, invest in yourself spiritually. Invest in your values. I'm not talking about your religion. I'm talking about your values. The one challenge that is there is increasingly the world is looking for trustworthy people. The world is looking for people with a higher sense of value. If you have to invest somewhere, invest in your values. That is your spiritual. The second one is invest in yourself physically. It's very important. Now, I, about 8 years ago, lost 14 kilos in 1 year. I mean, it was quite a difficult exercise, but I did it. Why did I do that? I did that because I was not physically, I was looking like a bishop. That's what one person said. I'm looking like a bishop. In fact, if I wasn't careful, I would look like the archbishop. So I said, I need to do something about it. 14 kilos in 1 year. But it is important for us to take care of ourselves physically because that is where the engine is which is fueling the energy for the rest of the body. Physical renewal. The third one is invest in yourself intellectually. In today's Google world, you do not have an excuse for not investing in yourself. If you don't know anything, ask Professor Google. You need to learn to be current with the technology, current with the information, current with the developments. I was a convocation speaker in BITS Pilani. I upset the professors with the statement that I made, and the statement is, all our academic degrees have got an expiry date. Learn to invest in yourself intellectually. Invest in yourself in the community that you are involved in. Learn to give back to the community because you will be able to learn a lot in your interaction. And finally, learn to invest in your emotional intelligence. I am told that you're having a session on emotional intelligence. It's powerful. Invest in yourself emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is basically your ability to respond to pain and pleasure. I'll just give you a very simple example to talk about how you respond to pain and how you respond to pleasure. There is this boy who was picked up by his mother from school, and as the mother was driving the boy from school to home, the boy asked the mother a question, which is an EQ question. And the question is, Mummy, how come idiots appear on the road only when daddy is driving? Some of you possibly know the answer to that question. Now, I live in Delhi, and I can tell you, in Delhi, the cars are very romantic. They want to make bumper-to-bumper love. When they do that, the owners, they come, and they will not speak English or Hindi. They will speak special characters. Asterisk, at the rate of, exclamation, percentage, hash. I'm sure some of you, in Jaipur, of course, you speak Shuddh Hindi. Everybody is there. That is a sign of your EQ. After you have done all that, the seventh and final step is learn to be yourself. Why? Because everybody else is already taken. Thank you.
Finally, all set. Here we go.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
This proves leaders are very many. But thought leaders, they are a rare and a distinguished breed. They are the dreamers. They may hail from the most unexpected echelons of life and yet get immortalized as icons. Icons who change the world. It does not matter who they were, but what they have done. A true thought leader envisions the day after tomorrow today and leads the world towards it. Change is the soul of thought leadership. Your thought leadership becomes the soul of your leadership, devoid of which your personal brand lacks the most beautiful element of it all. Soulful inspiration. The human soul is wired to seek inspiration in almost everything around it, especially in other people. We are wired to fall in love with people whose stories resonate with us, whose stories inspire us, whose stories make us want to do more and be more. Your personal brand is a story of this inspiration and how it is changing the world around you for better. Every story begins with a dream and ends with a legacy. But what transpires in between is what makes your story truly inspiring. A story full of passion, vision, aspiration, inspiration, learnings, teachings, milestones, setbacks, and above all, that one big dream come true. The dream, the dare, and the do until the very end of it all is what epic brand stories are made of. Similarly, once upon a time, I had a dream. In my dream, I saw that the more impossible my dream looked, the more passionate I felt. The more invincible my dream looked, the more tenacious I became. The more dreamy my dream looked, the more confident I became. After all, it was just a dream, and I did wake up, but I woke up with unrivaled passion, tenacity, and confidence to take on this world and make my dreams come true. What do you dream of? What do you value in your life? What do you love to do? What is the difference that you yearn to make? What is the reason thereof? The second commandment of personal branding is to dare to be shamelessly good at what you do and own it. Dare to create products and services far ahead of its time. Dare to add selfless value to others. Dare to be shamelessly good at what you do and promote it to the whole world so that the entire world knows who you are, what you do, whom do you do it for, and why you are irrefutably the best person for the job. Because if you don't dare today, I guarantee when you look back 20, 30 years from now, you will regret it. But if we do not persistently do our dues, if we do not religiously deliver on our brand promises, fall shall our reputation. The third and perhaps the most important commandment of personal branding is to do and never stop doing. This commandment of personal brand building encourages you to do over and above what is expected out of you. Do for your tribe what no other is willing to do. Only then you shall receive what no other deserves to. Having said that, let us address the elephant in the room, or rather, the peacock in the room for now. We've been talking about the brand you, personal branding, how to do, what to do. But do you believe 1000% that yes, I am a brand? How many yeses? Come on, loud and proud. How many yeses? Okay. Like the question asked, do you believe you have a reputation? How many yeses? Yet not 100%. I'm shocked. The irony is that what you believe your brand to be, your worth to be, your value to be, the world will come to believe in that. So if you do not take the active control of your identity, your reputation, and your legacy, you are allowing yourself to be vulnerable. You're letting people think, talk, feel whatever they may want about you. Do we want to be in those shoes? Yes or no? Do we want to be vulnerable? We are the manifestations of Ma Durga. Do we want to be vulnerable? Yes. So, what to do? Instead, we take active control of who we are and what people know about us by putting the best of us out there so that this does not happen. And instead, we own our uniqueness, our weirdness, our craziness, and revel in the glory of that. Regardless of who we are, what we believe our reputations are today, you do have the power to change it, transform it, enhance it, whatever you desire it to be 6 months down the line. So, how do we do that? How does a woman take active control of her brand, her identity, her reputation, so that all the other lesser mortal men in the world stand up, take notice, and bow to her greatness? How does she become the superwoman that we all know we are, but never proudly claim to be? What does it take for a leader to become a legend? What does it take for a lady to become a legacy? And to more realistic context, what does it really take in today's day for a woman to not just be needed in the boardroom, but wanted in the boardroom? 2 words: thought leadership. On second thoughts, your thought leadership alone is not enough. Because unless you take active control of your thought leadership and build your personal brand, reputation, and legacy around it, it's no point. What is it that women like Chanda Kochhar or Oprah Winfrey or Sheryl Sandberg or Indra Nooyi, or even Malala Yousaf have done in their lives to have built such enviable personal brands and legacies. They have taken active control of their identities, their thought leadership, and built legacies which have created a deep, lasting impact in their social ecosystems. What are these superpowers that these ladies are born with or have learned to develop and cultivate that have empowered them to create their mark and dominate their niches? I'm delighted to share with you my personal favorite 10 superpowers or 10 secrets of women who know how to dream bold and have what it takes to go ahead and dare and do to make all those dreams come true. Number 1, be clear about who you are. Having absolute clarity about your dreams and goals, your passions and aspirations, your value and worth is the first step in the celebration of the brand you. Ask yourself some thought-provoking questions on these parameters and then celebrate the insights you receive from your mind, heart, and soul. Factor these insights into crafting a unique and invincible positioning for your personal brand and your thought leadership. And once you've done that, boldly position yourself as the go-to expert for whatever it is that you bring on the table. Number 2, be focused. Focus on a niche. Gone are the days of being the jack of all trades and master of none. Today, we evolved that into the 21st century version of it. You have to be the jack of all trades, you have to be the master of some, and you have to be the emperor of that one skill set, one talent, which you do better than anyone else. Focus on that talent. Make it your emperor skill set and showcase it to the world. And then every single day, again focus on how you can leverage that thought leadership to create a beautiful impact in your ecosystem so that everybody knows who you are and why you matter. Number 3, be confident. Make confidence your middle name. Romance it. Personify it. There is nothing more intimidating and awe-inspiring than a woman who's confident of her dreams, her charms, and her value. Your self-confidence directly rests into how much you as a woman value yourself. Never ever let your self-confidence be influenced by how much the world values you. Because unless and until you value yourself first, the world will not be able to see what you're really worth of. So value yourself first. Build your self-confidence first. Only when you do that, only when you revel in the glory of your own value, the world will start valuing you as well. Number 4, be selfish. Oh my God, I'm a woman. What the hell is Tanvi talking about? How can I be selfish? I'm the epitome of selflessness, correct? It's me last, the world first. No. Stop waiting. Start wooing. Embrace opportunities as well as challenges, both with open arms. Opportunities will knock on your eager doorstep only and only when you have a welcome sign painted upon it. Paint that welcome sign for yourself. Be the me first woman at work, especially at work. Be the first voice in the room, the first idea on the table, and the first solution to the problem. Never ever hold back or hesitate due to the fear of criticism or ridicule or manterruption or even idea hijack, which happens so prominently today. Be absolutely selfish about your self-respect, your pride, and your progress. Number 5, yes, of course, you have to be selfless as well. You know, brand karma works and how? Indulge in building your own brand karma a little every single day. Give back all that you know, your knowledge, your wisdom, to enrich and empower the lives of people around you. Such nobility is the true hallmark of some of the most celebrated thought leaders and icons across the world. You, as a woman, are already attuned to selfless love for your family. Yes or no? Bring in that same selflessness, that same selfless leadership at work. Be the selfless leader who enriches and empowers others to take their journey from one milestone to the next. And then sit back, relax, and watch your brand karma amplify itself in its journey back to you. Number 6, be visible. You really need to spread your wings and fly sky high. Be visible, be out there. Be proud of who you are and what you do. You can build your personal brand both online and offline today with the power of social media. How many of you all are active on social media for business or professional reasons? Okay, fair enough. Use the power of these platforms, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or YouTube or relevant blogs, knowledge hubs, to share your knowledge, your thought leadership, your wisdom, and add value to your communities today. The social media is your oyster. You have the means to be visible and valuable to your communities today. Only when you do that, the world will truly be able to see you, your work, and celebrate you tomorrow. Be vocal. Yes, we have been told silence is golden. But you know what? Knowledge is priceless. Also, mind you, knowledge not shared sadly becomes worthless. As a torchbearer of the profound knowledge and wisdom you have amassed in the journey of life, it becomes your moral responsibility to enlighten the next generation of women leaders. Stand up, speak up, and inspire 1 million more women to live their dreams. Take a stand and stand for it. Today, there are dozens of avenues available for the women to take center stage, speak her mind, and ignite younger minds. Adopt a crusade, a cause closest to your heart, and give it all that you got. But remember, be vocal both online and offline to truly amplify the influence as well as the impact of your thought leadership and your efforts. Number 8, be inspirational. Think, do, inspire. This is the mantra of a true thought leader. Every single day, ask yourself just one question. What is it that I can do that nobody else is thinking or doing today? And by doing that, how can I transform life, transform my world as we know it? Only when you take upon a road less traveled will you lead a life truly inspirational. So go ahead and be inspirational as a woman, as a leader, and as a legacy. Number 9, be proud. Oh my God, losing less and less interest in this, right? Tanvi's telling me to be proud. I'm humility personified. Yes or no? Yes? Too bad. Pride is ownership. It is a celebration of self-worth. Traditionally, pride has been left untouched as it was considered a vice. But says who? That a woman cannot be proud of her value, her accomplishments, and her legacy with heartfelt humility and gratification. Be proud of your dreams, of your journey, of your vision, of the impact that you're making, and own that pride and show that pride. Finally, number 10, be a dreamer. You do everything that I've told you up till now, but unless you start dreaming, what's the point? Only a dreamer can go ahead and accomplish things which others, the non-dreamers, never ever even dream about. So start dreaming with those eyes wide open so you can then witness it happen. Because some of the most beautiful legacies bestowed upon the world began with a humble dream, which have been celebrated worldwide across geographies and civilizations. But ensure that you just don't dream. Ensure that you have the courage to dare and take that first step to make all your dreams come true. Asking you once again, what do you dream of? Which of these 10 superpowers will you personify in your pursuit of success? Once you do that, remember one very important thing. Success is relative. It means different things to different people. So always ensure that you keep a benchmark of the impact that you're creating as your measure of success. Finally, it's game time. If the 10 secrets we saw define the art of building the brand you, the next 8 strategies which I'm going to share with you will help you master it. So let's go back a couple of thousand years and get some wisdom from the humble chessboard and learn how to master the art of celebrating the brand you. Your brand reputation is sacrosanct. Unless the king stands tall and strong, it's game over. So, let's draw up a brand army, because your brand reputation is nothing but the effect of a strategic working protocol of your brand army. That includes your queen. What else? Who plays chess here? Only 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay, for the benefit of the audience. That includes your queen, your bishop, the humble knight, the rook, and those indispensable pawns, whom we think not much of, but we'll see how crucial they are. So, your brand positioning. There is no other like the queen on the chessboard. Agree? She rules the roost with a multitude moves. She is indeed invincible. Just like the positioning of your personal brand. Craft an absolutely inimitable and invincible positioning for your personal brand in the industry, something that no other can match up to. Next, your brand value. Clarity and consistency in what you ought to do time and again is the only linear pathway to success. Very much like the bishop, there are no shades of gray allowed in delivering the personal brand promise. It's either black or white. Ensure that you have absolute clarity about who you are and what value you bring on the table to begin with, and then go ahead and deliver on that brand promise every single time to build that desired reputation in your industry. Next, your brand visibility. You know, the night truly teaches us the power of creative, multi-dimensional strategy. Do what no other does on the chessboard to achieve what no other can. In today's global economies, we cannot thrive with the frog in the well mindset. We have to be out there. Get inspired by the humble knight. Ensure that you have a multi-dimensional, multi-platform presence, both online and offline. Be visible, be active, be engaging 24/7. That is the only key to building a truly global brand. Be in the grapevine. What is the grapevine? Ladies, you must know what is the grapevine. The rumor mill, the gossip mill, that is the grapevine. That is where the actual brand building or bashing happens. Yes or no? Yes. So that's the most important platform for you to be active on or be spoken about on. Next, your brand influence. It is magical, okay? What you can inspire others to do and be with their lives, only using the power of your influence. The humble rook teaches us how you can wield such power and influence to change the game for someone other than yourself. Being the only player on the field to possess the power of castling, it teaches you how to yield such influence to transform and impact your communities for good. Remember, adding selfless value to your communities will add invaluable influential power to the brand you. And last but definitely not the least, your brand experience, your brand in action. Everything that you promise, it's delivery time. How do you ensure that you create an on-brand experience across multiple touch points, right from online to offline, whether it's your identity, your credibility, your story, your brand karma, your influence, your legacy on multiple platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, blogs, Instagram, in-person interactions. Ensure that you design a signature and an unforgettable brand experience for yourself, something that others love to come and experience again and again and again and again. A dream that becomes an inspiration that influences a change which goes on to be celebrated as a legacy. Come to think of it, how would you rather live by? What would you rather have your life measured by? An average human being like you and I has around 70 years to live, or approximately 25,000 days. Would you have rather lived for only 25,000 days? Or would you have built a legacy that will outlive you for another 25,000 days? From this perspective, at least my choice is rather simple. I choose to outlive my life. I choose to build a legacy of 1 million more dreamers whom I may embolden to build 1 million more legacies. So go ahead and dream bold, but don't just stop there. Take that first step to dare and do whatever it takes for you to outlive your own life. Thank you so much.
Mr. Pillai and Ms. Bhatt, for your great insights, for making us believe that each one of us is a designer product. And yes, we should develop a brand as. So I would like to open the session for question and answers now.
Good evening. Thank you very much for such an amazing session, both of you. My question is to Mr. Pillai. How to start building, all of us have kids here who are teenagers. So how to start inspiring them to build their own brand or personal branding? How to initiate that?
Yeah, let me stand to answer that. If we can address this particular issue, we will build an entire new generation in our country. The challenge that is there is our children, they'll tend to live either somebody else's life or the parents' life, not their own. So there are some schools that are really helping children to be themselves. But we as enlightened parents that we are, or enlightened siblings, we need to encourage them to be themselves. If you remember those 5 questions that I gave, that is available on Google. It is called Gallup's 5 questions to discover yourself. Your yearning, your rapid learning, your flow, your excellence, and your moment of satisfaction. Find out what gives them satisfaction. Find out where they have the natural flow. Find out where the rapid learning is. Find out where their excellence is, and more specifically, find out where they are satisfied.
This is my question to you, Mr. Pillai. Sir, once we have established our own personal brand, how do you advertise it or sell it? I mean, so that it's acceptable by others and the society we are living in. Because the corporate houses, they hire a PR to sell and advertise the brand, the particular brand, so that people accept it and buy it. But for our own personal brand, how do we do it?
Yeah. So again, if you go back to my philosophy or my line of thinking, the way you build your personal brand is first build yourself. First discover yourself. You do all that. Having said that, we are living in a digital world. And therefore, we need to learn to leverage social media. Okay? So what you need to do is try to be visible in the social media. Whatever you are doing, make sure that you use each one of the social media tool for what it is intended. I'll give you a quick rundown. For example, Instagram. You don't necessarily put where you are or what you are eating or where you are sleeping. Are you with me? What place you're visiting. Try to be creative in your Instagram. Okay? That does not mean that you're gone to a restaurant. That's good. But be creative in your Instagram. Foursquare again, the places. Are you on Foursquare? Yeah, you are. So make sure that you use Foursquare as a coordination of the places you have visited, not as a tourist, but as an activity that you have done. Facebook is for you to demonstrate and exhibit your thought leadership for your circle of friends. LinkedIn is for you to exhibit your thought leadership in your professional area. You have, each one of us have got at least 4 dimensions. For example, I am a human being. I am a brother, I am a son, I am a husband, and I am also the managing director of this company. Earlier, I was the senior executive vice president of Reliance Industries, and prior to that, I was the senior vice president for global transformation. In each one of my roles, I do certain things. So my professional activities get reflected in LinkedIn. My personal activities gets reflected in Facebook. My visible graphic activities gets reflected in Instagram, and the places where I have done these areas of significance gets into Foursquare.
I request our chairperson, Ms. Minal, to present a memento to Mr. Anand Pillai. Can I have Swati Agroya to present a memento to Ms. Tanvi Bhatt?